Nothing wrong with pushing a 10, 12-year-old truck around. I think mine's 15, 16 years old now. Problem is, once you get a lot of miles on it, once you log a lot of time in it, we're talking 190 on this thing, you start to hear some of those wearables and the fatigue that's going on in that motor. Even a lot of times, like when I fire this up, check this out, okay? Listen. Okay?
Yeah, let it get going.
Is that valve train? Is that lifters?
Yeah, you're giving it a ride. Yeah, man, you're sitting at a drive-through. The noises are bouncing off the wall there, hitting you in the ear, and you're thinking, man, my engine's about ready to blow up.
Okay.
And you have, idle kind of tick, and then you can have off idle where it sounds horrible. There's two different conditions, but it's the same basic problem, and that's your cam phaser.
Yeah, and a cam phaser, man, a lot of people don't even think about that. The noise located right up in here and right up in here, and the way the oil pather goes, it's typically worse on the right side of the motor. However, when you hear it that loud, get all this out of the way, get that cam phaser exposed, and you really see what it's doing and how integral it is with the design of this particular motor. It's 5.4.
Now we have a really simple and really inexpensive fix. So we're going to walk you through. We're actually going to tear this thing apart to see how the technology works. So we're going to dive into this thing.
Okay, finally we get to the cam phaser. Now here's the guy that's making all that racket. Now first things first, you want to clean this timing chain up. You want to clean the face of this cam phaser up. Brake clean. You don't want to spray it on it. Just spray it on the rag. Wipe it off and find you a place. Like this little keyway here that's marked actually on the cam phaser head. You want to take a Sharpie and line this mark up. Make sure you get it really nice, colored in to a mark on the chain. Now you want to make sure that when you align this back up, these two marks are directly on top of one another. That way, your timing's right. You got to set exactly where you took this one off at. Okay, now that we got this index, we're good to go there. And on this bolt right here, on the cam phaser bolt, 15 millimeter, it's a torque to yield. You don't have to worry about saving it. You get another one in the kit from Livernois. Also in that kit from Livernois, there's this incredible little tool here. It's a wedge tool. Actually wedges down into the timing chain so that it won't move once you take that cam phaser unit off. It's got this little slot on top of it. That's going to allow you to get a flathead screwdriver and help you wedge that thing into the timing chain. Just one of the cool tools that you'll have in this entire cam phaser noise repair kit from Livernois. I'm going to get this thing fished down in here. It's a delicate process, but again, like I said, they give you this little slot so you can really push, wedge, and get it in there. Now, you want it in there tight. Last thing you want is that timing chain to actually move when you pull that cam phaser out. So give yourself a little bit of time, some patience. If you're good at fishing, right, you're pretty good. Now you want to give her a couple good bumps. Take a hammer. And just give it a little tug. We'll see if you're snug. Now you get loosening this bolt. That cam phaser comes off. And here is the guy causing all that noise. Now my man Kevin is going to show you all the sort of intricacies that work around in here. It's really cool once you get it out and exposed. So come on, we'll show you.
Phasers are pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Right, and you got 2 of them on this engine, some of them you have 4. Then if you really want to solve all the problems, you replace the solenoid valves, which is also really expensive. That's a 190,000 mile truck.
Yeah, we're not dropping. Ain't nobody got time to drop a lot of money in a 190,000 mile truck.
Yeah. So what we did, we went to Livernois Motorsports. So these guys, they're right in my neck of the woods, Detroit area. They're strategically right between the big 3, so they can do a lot of support engineering for those guys.
Hey, and they're the panacea of all things performance up in Detroit. Literally, man, whether it's Mopar, Ford, Chevy, they got it all covered, all things high performance.
Yeah, all motorsports and builds and everything. So what this kit does is it kind of, when you open it up, we're going to take these little wedges and we're going to pretty much lock the phaser in one position so it can't be banging around.
Sure, and I love the kit. It has everything you need. Like I said, great little product, great little repair kit on the cam phaser noise repair kit from Livernois. We really like it.
Now, this is kind of...
this is neat, right?
Where the magic happens. Now, it's really not that crazy complicated. It's just cool that they made it work. Now, you can imagine if I pump oil into here, and let's say I pump it on to this side of that vein, all these veins are going to start moving one way until this vein hits this side. And if I release that oil, or if I pump it onto this side, it's going to drive the veins that way. So what we have for a problem is there's a locking pin. And again, if you have very low oil pressure, the spring will put it in one direction, the pin will lock. Well, that pin wears out, and so you get that first idle condition where it goes da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yes.
Now, the second condition is when your whole system oil pressure is too low, the cam wants to drive this thing and push the oil back out. There's not enough pressure coming in. Okay. The cam torque, right, all those valve springs, is pushing the oil out, and it kind of empties it out. It gets air in there.
So it
now
starts
this
to
thing
slap.
Is banging around violently.
So this is what you hear, this phasing unit, right? Slap it against this metal and this metal. Just
totally.
Right, just up in here doing this the whole time. And that's all that racket you hear internally in the motor. You're thinking, what is that? Valve train? No. These right here.
Yeah, so you have these little wedges, and I'm not sure which ones will end up. Looks like the blue ones, depending on which model year. And you can find which location has the tight fit. Yep, so that's the sloppy one.
Some of them are loose. Oh, okay. So now you'll notice that this one, right, when you put it in, really loose, okay? Most of them should be, but there'll be one that's really tight. Again, this one, kind of loose. I think this is going to be our tight one. So,
okay. And that's just going to lock everything into its home position, so you won't be banging off that pin anymore.
Okay. Now when you get it slid down in there, you just go, whoop,
boom,
and there you go.
We're done. Now with everything bolted back together, we can just do a quick flash, so the computer doesn't get confused. It says, well, I told the cam to go over there, and it didn't go over there, and everything goes haywire. A quick flash updates the engine, so it's all happy, and you're good to go.
All right, back at it. The cam phaser is in. We got the timing chain where we had it indexed. It's all lined. A little more to go. Okay. Pretty close there. Now that we got it all hooked in, a quick pull. And we get our wedge tool out. So we move to the other side of this. So we'll get hopping on that. A few other things to do on the truck. So when we come back, more things that vibrate, shake, make a lot of noise in a car like this. It's got 190,000 miles. Stick around.
All right, now we got that big job in the front done. The engine noises are all fixed. Time to do a little bit of brakes before it goes out the door, and we can move on to our other cool truck. All right, we'll get that guy off. We'll throw the new rotor on, and we can move on to our lines. Right, and I'd rather do the lines before I get to the pads, so if I get any fluid on, I don't ruin them. Now, speaking of, these are Crown Performance. I mean, they are the top of the line that you can get for hoses. Now, the construction's completely different. It's got 5 layers of Kevlar and stainless steel, so they're super stout. You've got a firm pedal. They're 4,500 PSI tested and DOT approved, so we know they're going to be strong. They even have one-piece connectors. So I just have to decide out of the 9 different colors which one I want. So I think I'm going to go with the red ones. Let's get a little crazy today. I'm going to check out my hardware, make sure all that's going to fit right. I got gaskets with my kit. I got clips here. So all I got to do is bust off the other end. Yep, swap my hoses out. I can do a bleed. I got my pads to go back in, but that's easy, and I'm going to work my way around. So we're going to take a quick break. When you come back, we're going to roll this guy out. We got our 73 Chevy stepside ready to roll right in. Stick around. Now we've been working on fixing a cam phaser noise issue on this F-150 today. But anytime you're working with timing components, you want to add strength and dependability wherever you can. Let me show you on this Coyote engine, because these are getting more and more popular in racing. This may be one of those areas where you don't think about upgrading your hardware, but it makes a lot of sense. Because the extra demands that are on an engine during racing environment really stresses those components and need the upgrades. Now the factory bolts are torque to yield, which means they're designed to permanently stretch once they've been tightened completely. So if you're making any modifications on the engine that requires disassembly, you're gonna have to replace them. This is a great opportunity to upgrade those factory bolts to superior fasteners from ARP. Now these bolts are manufactured from premium grade chromoly material, and they're nominally rated at 200,000 PSI, which is about 30% stronger than a grade 8 fastener. Now, unlike the ones that come from the factory, these fasteners are reusable because they're stronger than the factory bolts, and they don't have to go into yield or permanent stretch. And they also have roll form threads for better fatigue. Now, these kits are available for several applications in black oxide finish and 12-point wrenching.
This tip is brought to you by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology.
Hey, welcome back, man. It's been a great truck day.
Yes,
we got this F-150 back together on the ground, ready to roll.
Yeah, man, we handled the cam phaser, all right? We're gonna find out how that works here in just a second. Added some brakes to it, not a bad little day. And from our friends at tires-easy.com, they sent us some Discover AT3s. Now, these are great tires. They're from Cooper. They got a big lug, but they're real quiet. Think you're gonna love them. But now, the moment of truth.
This is it.
All right, moment of truth.
All right, we're gonna fire this thing up, because you remember when we had this thing in earlier, it had that bad kind of ticking, rattling sound coming in this front engine here. So
okay, here we go.
smooth as could be.